Thank you for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. This is episode number 157, Admiration and Appreciation. There are a lot of ways to express affection to other people, especially to our children, and for our children to express it to us. But I think oftentimes these are probably a couple of the ones that don't happen enough. If you walked up to your child and said to him or her, I really admire how you're so gentle with your little sister. They might fall on the ground because they never heard anything like that come out of your mouth before, and they didn't even know you were noticing. In order to express admiration, it does require us to notice, and then it requires us to have enough courage and enough, I guess I'll say the word boldness, to express what we really admire. Often as parents, it's easy for us to get negative. You don't do this, you don't clean your room, you don't take very good care of your things. You're so careless. You're this, you're that, you don't this, you don't. And oh my word, kids hear so much negative junk. It's pathetic. No wonder they struggle with liking themselves or thinking of themselves as valuable. You as a parent have the great opportunity to demonstrate to them and to pour into their life that they are in fact extremely valuable and you value them above all things. And when you admire them and appreciate them, that happens. So you might say, I really admire how when your day is going badly, and when you were younger, you would rant and rave and kick and throw things and just act horribly, that now you're really good at controlling your emotional state. And you stay pretty calm and you just verbalize what's going on with you instead of acting so badly. I really admire your self control. I really admire what a great job you have at getting dressed and doing it beautifully. You put together colors and interesting textures in ways I would never imagine. You are such a fashionista, girl. I really admire that part about you. You make such fascinating things, really beautiful things. Your collages are out of this world. You just have such an artistic, creative mind. I really admire that about you. I'm not even sure where that came from. It just doesn't exist in me. But in you, it's amazing, incredible, impressive. And I admire that about you so very much. Kids who take something and do something with it that you wouldn't expect. And so maybe the words out of your mouth that you want to say might be, well, you know that's not what that is used for. I don't know what you're thinking. Might instead be, wow, I really admire the creativity of your thoughts. I would have never thought to do that. And I think that though that's very much out of the ordinary, that's astounding. I am very impressed by your mind and the ways that you think and your courage to go for it. That is awesome. I admire that about you. I really appreciate the beauty of your singing voice. I realize that was a gift from God, but you use it so well and it's very uplifting. I just love to hear you sing. I really love that about you. I appreciate how much you are willing to communicate with me. I sometimes struggle with some of the negativity that comes out of you. I sometimes struggle with your attitude or your anger, even your frustration. But I want you to know that I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your willingness to share your heart with me, even the negative things. Wow. Isn't that an entirely different message than most of us ever hear? Mom, Dad, you can start this with your mate, with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers. Admiration and appreciation is easier and easier as you do it more and more. So you have a coworker who really gets on your nerves a lot. You'd like to slap them sideways. Find something about him or her to admire or appreciate and express it, and it can change a lot in the dynamics of your relationship. And when you express admiration and appreciation to your mate on a regular basis, Wow, it really lights fires in your marriage. And really, I want you to get this one for me. When you demonstrate in front of your child by example an attitude of admiration and appreciation, they will start to develop it in themselves. When you have a child who comes home and says, "My friend, blah, 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 blah," and they're really angry and they're really upset and they're really frustrated, and you say, "What do you admire about your friend?" "What? Didn't I just tell you how ticked off I am?" Yes, I want to build some balance here because I think maybe you have forgotten, what do you admire about your friend? They might have to really think it over. What do you appreciate about your friend? You know, maybe you need to tell that to them the next time they're kind of picking a fight with you or y'all are having challenges in your relationship. Express what you really admire and appreciate. Another way to build this into a kid's life is when they admire, we'll say, a pro football guy or a beautiful ballerina, an iron chef on television. Have them write a letter. Just doesn't need to be more than 4 or 5 sentences. "I watch you every Saturday. I saw you on Iron Chef. I really have been watching all your dancing videos on YouTube. I admire how beautiful and flowy and expressive your movements are. I admire your style. Man, dude, I totally admire what a tough guy you are, how tenacious you are, how much you fight for the team. I really admire that you take such simple ingredients and prepare beautiful, and I assume, though I've never tasted it, tasty, flavorful food. I just really admire that about you." Get your kids in the habit of expressing admiration or appreciation, even in writing for someone they've never met. And it develops really a deep sense of well being and interconnectedness with others, both people they know well, their friends, and you as their parents, and their maybe their classmates at school or teammates, and people farther away in the world, farther afield from their everyday life. But it is a great trait, and it is a wonderful way for you yourself to express great and deep affection for your children, for your mate, for your family, for your coworkers, for your friends. My challenge question for today is, how much or how often do I express admiration or appreciation to those around me? It's a very valid question, and I honestly mean that. I hope that it will reorder your world. When I was a little girl, I was very creative. I was always getting into things and doing odd things with stuff. I don't just mean artistic, but creative in the way I saw things and the way I approached things. Mostly I got insulted and sometimes even slapped because I wasn't doing it the right way. I think some of that was my dyslexia, but some of it is just I don't see the world exactly like everyone else does. And not only is that okay, it's actually a good thing, I think. When I was in my 40s, I was working on a specific piece of embroidery, and I took it with me to a ladies' sewing group that I belonged to. People there would quilt, knit, applique, embroider, a lot of things. But at that moment, I was involved in applique, and I was embroidering over it. And this woman walked up behind my shoulder. And Doreen, if you ever see this, you'll know this was you. So I just want you to know how much this meant. She leaned over and she said, "Do you know what, Violet? There is so much beauty inside of you, just dying to get out. And I really admire that you can take your own hands and release some of that beauty out into the world." In third grade, I had an art teacher lean over my shoulder and say, "Ha, well, there's not a creative bone in your body." And for a very long time, I was petrified of letting anyone see my work because I was so convinced that I was pathetic and would never be able to create anything good. When Doreen spoke those words of appreciation and admiration to me, it really did a lot to undo, unravel that horrible cord or message that was placed into my life by that teacher when I was a little girl. You don't know what your admiration or your appreciation might do in someone's life and in someone's heart. Please freely express your appreciation and your admiration to your children, to your spouse, to those around you today. Make the world a better place. It's not that hard. And it's very, very uplifting. Thank you so much for being with me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.